Hi, welcome to Allergy Dragon's Lair. I'm live here on Facebook with a very special guest today. Okay, she's the Frugalista mom to so many people. Lucky for me, she's one of a quarantine allergy mom superhero person I've looked up to for a very long time, and was luckily enough to be able to be on her show in November, like 2 years ago. Can you believe it's been like 2 years?
Wow, that's a while.
That is a while. So my dear friend Rochie, fellow OG Allergy mom, celiac mom, is here with me today. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Martha.
You're welcome. Now we're going to do our quick disclaimer like we always do. I am recording this on YouTube, so you will catch the replay on YouTube. That'll be up in a few days, and I'll definitely make sure everybody knows. So if you're on Facebook right now, but please remember you can comment, ask questions, share, like, subscribe, do all the stuff that you normally do. Obviously, go check out Frugalista Mom as well. So our quick disclaimer is the views expressed here on the program are that of our family's personal experiences, our guests' personal experiences, opinions. If you have medical issues or medical questions, please make sure you double check everything and have the best information you can get from your actual doctor or personal care provider. So make sure you check your healthcare provider. And end of our disclaimer. Now we get to the fun part. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay, so I have, like I said, very awesome guest here. So Rochie, very quickly, not really quickly, take as much time as you want, but can you tell us about your journey, like Frugalista Mom Life blog, YouTube channel, and where you are now, just pretty much everything,
Well, first off, I started Frugalista Mom 10 years ago.
Wow.
Speaking of OG, I just realized last September that it was actually September 2012 when I did my very first blog post on the Frugalista Mom.
Wow, happy anniversary.
Thank you. And I was like, now I just realized when you're saying OG, yes, we are one of those, my kids call ancient. I hate them. Like one of those. But when they told me first you're ancient, I'm like, really? And then eventually I learned what OG means, and now I'm happy with the word OG, right? Yeah. But that was 10 years ago. And before that, actually, full disclaimer too, if you are not a follower of the Frugalista Mom yet, personally, I don't have any food allergies. I don't have any food restrictions. I mean, sometimes you would see me post that it's really a pretty picture and it's not allergy friendly, because over the years, I learned that I could also treat myself, because even the doctors told me you do not have to avoid it if you don't need it, because that's when you build your immunity. That's what they told me. Anyway, 3 of my kids right now have multiple food allergies, because the oldest actually outgrew all her allergies, including peanuts, when she was about 9 or 10 years old, when she started hitting puberty.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what they said. Puberty, your hormones, your body's changing. And they said that's the time when, most allergies, they could easily outgrow them on that phase. So she outgrew that. And then now 3 out of 4 have multiple food allergies, but they're now teenagers. We started when they were, I think, around 5, 7, about 9 years old, I think, on that time. And then now they're 19, 17, 15, and 13. So they lived for like over 10 years. So I guess I'm doing something right. No, I'm laughing about it now because, most parents, I know, being an allergy mom, especially when your kids are young, you always have this anxiety within us that will my child die, and then you will hear news and everything. So yeah, they could outgrow their allergies, and yes, they could live a normal life, I would say. And actually allergies is not, I would say, well, my kids know it is a disability, because technically in schools they're considering it a disability, but they could still live normal lives, just like a child with diabetes, or a child with other types of diseases, food allergies like that, so they could also thrive as they grow up. Don't worry, moms, you're doing something great right now, and they're okay. That's what I'm always saying. They're cautious, but they're okay. And I would say COVID too was the best thing, because people became more conscious about washing their hands, cleaning up the tables, being more clean freak. Because we've been like that. I'm sure you know that pre-COVID, you can't just touch anything. So yeah, that's basically a reminder for you allergy moms that the kids will grow up, they'll be teenagers, they'll be adults, and they'll be fine. And right now, everything shall pass. That anxiety will you can get over with. um and then about my blog, well, at first, for those who don't know it, it started as a rant page, actually. No, because before I have a jewelry business, I had my jewelry business. So at that time, I was starting to do blogging for fashion, like what's the best jewelry with this outfit and that one. So I started that blog before, but I used to write for newspapers beforehand. And then when I found out that my kids have multiple food allergies, and that time I think it was the worst timing on their age, because they're 1, 3, 5, and 7, because they were picky already, and then they were able to eat those food already. So they know what a cupcake is, what a bread should be. So if you give them something, they know right away the difference, aside from the picky stage. So at that time, I was going through, well, we are OGs. At that time, there were no labeling on food allergies. Yeah. You have to read each one. They don't put any, I would say, bold letters or bold font for allergens. We don't have that during that time. So I did cry a lot of times in the store, not only on the price, but there's nothing in my cart.
Yeah.
And then I have to, and that time we don't have much, I would say our phones isn't as smart as that time yet. So when you say lactic, is that dairy or no? We don't have that instant phone or app that tells you what it is. Or is tofu soy or something like that? You can't easily Google that in the store. So we had our crying moments, but I started the blog because I was ranting on Facebook that I was there for 2 hours in the store, and I only had a tomato sauce in my hand. And I would say probably a meat, a chunk of meat or steak. That's it. But all the canned stuff, condiments, the worst part, even condiments has wheat on it or something. So, and then I said, I'm tired because I'm reading each ingredient and trying to decipher what it means, especially if it's a scientific word on it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm doing that ranting. And then sometimes, we have the experience that you bought, like at that time, $5 for a loaf of bread was very expensive already for gluten-free. But now I know it's $8 and $9.
Yeah, I was exactly thinking that too, $8.
But before, it's only $1 a loaf and $1.99. So the $5 is already expensive at that time. And then my kids, I'll close my eyes, I'll buy this. And then it's also that time when the kids will tell you, nope, we're so not eating that because it doesn't taste like bread at all. And they will tell, when the time I told them, I bought it for $5, and they're like, then you eat it, typical kids reaction.
It's like, you eat it then.
You eat it then, right? So we've been there. So at that time, when I did my Facebook, I would say, after 4 hours, I finally found a cookie that my kids like, or I was able to find this one, or I bought this. That's the Frugalista Mom came up. It's like, I bought this box of cookies for $7. it's so not worth it because none of my kids, all four, and even me, doesn't want to eat it. So I would say it's the then one of my friends told me, she said, you know what, you're right, you've been ranting about it, why don't you write about it? So that probably, at that time she didn't even know, probably you could help some people know what brands to buy or what brands not to buy, because they already told me 4 out of 4 is a focus group for kids.
Yeah.
It is a focus group for kids. So they're like, if 1 out of 4, then your probability. And I'm like, okay. And if it's 6 of you, that is really a focus group, and you have the different age ranges. So I did that one. I still, I started writing it, but I felt bad writing bad. So I only put the good stuff in it. So, and many are saying, why are you not being honest with the brand? Because at that time, only a few of us are writing. So they were like, they would send me, I was surprised they were started sending me stuff that I don't, just to try it. And for me, you know what, if I'm not buying it, it's fine. So basically it's a hobby, really, at
Right.
that time. Or it's not a hobby, it's really a rampage.
A rampage, and also like sharing your life. And just real quick, hi Cindy, who's watching on Facebook, and a couple other people there. You have a couple of comments of awesome on your kiddos, outgrowing some food allergies there. And the struggle is very real in shopping. So getting a lot of responses that way. So totally empathizing with your story as well. They've been there, done that as well.
Yep, we've been there. And then actually, so when I had that one, I said I felt bad because at that time some companies are trying to improve on their stuff. So I told them, I only put the stuff that it's something my mom told me too. If you have nothing good to say, zip it.
Yeah, that's
so
my mom used to say that too.
So what I did is that if the company sends me something and I said, you know what, before I publish this article, I want you to read it. And then they would tell me it's a bad review. And then they tell me it's okay if you don't write it. And I said, you know what, at least firsthand why we didn't like it, but I don't want to trash talk about a certain brand. And then eventually I was able to, work with those brands over the years. I've seen their development, how they change. And, that became, I would say, a mutual thing for us. And at least they know. And then for some people, they ask me, how about this brand? You never wrote about this brand. And, I said, private message me and I'll tell you why. Because at least, you can try it at your own risk, but this is what we experience. At least it's not on the World Wide Web. That's what I always say.
Exactly. Yeah. I do the same thing with mine, with my blog now that I have one. And if I really don't like something, I will let them know I don't like it and why I don't like it, and offer to help improve it. So yeah, you did that early on, which is awesome.
Yeah, because at that time, well, I'm saying at that time we were not really paid. Compared to, I would say, because there you go, OGs, compared to those who started their blogs like 2015, 2017. The low, I would say the younger crowd. They're mostly about the income that goes with it now,
right,
and how it's trending. For us, I've seen some, I've met some who is another OG is I don't even know her, Erin from Gluten-Free Fun and Gluten-Free Globetrotter. She was really one of my very first gluten-free friends, and also Dana of ABC Gluten-Free. We went there without any payment. We're just there to write, and then to tell our experiences and to share recipes that worked for us. And then eventually, they would say it's just a commitment in there. And that's why I was surprised that I've been here for 10 years. Yeah. And so it's just that thing. I think it's more of I would say over the years, because most people are now thinking, if they go to my website, I was like, oh, she hadn't posted in a while, and this one, because you know what, life happens. And what I shared, when I can't write, I don't post it there. yeah, maybe some people will say you don't treat it as a business, but you know what? Life happens, and I have choices as well. Like, I didn't put my kids in there. I didn't let my kids work for me. I tried to protect their privacy, which they appreciated now that they are
Mhm.
teenagers, because I never posted them. I mean, I did have some pictures of them to make sure that I'm not fooling anyone that I have 4 kids, or I do have kids who have allergies. So they are alive, they exist. So they have those little pictures, but it's not really them doing like the performing and all
Mhm.
those for me. So it's mostly me, like it's
Right.
mostly us. And yeah, and I have to say, life happens. There were a lot of times that I wanted to sell the blog. There were some times that it came to that point too. And then actually one friend, well, I would mention her now, Nancy of I would say Rule Breakers, because
Okay.
I
Yeah.
met her when she was starting her business too. And at that time, and then when I met her pre-COVID in one of the expos, she told, and I said, you know what? I think it was my 6th year or 7th year. And at that time you were like comparing yourself to the millennials, the cute
Mhm.
ones, the pretty ones.
Oh
Those
yeah.
people have not, well, here's the thing, have nothing else to do in life but to focus on their career, right? Because for
Right.
me, it's like I only, when I do my food, it's like 5 minutes before service time to the kids.
Mhm.
I don't have the full day to cook and take pictures. The pictures is like 5 minutes before they eat,
Yeah.
right? By
Mhm.
10 minutes, they'll be yelling at you that their food is cold. So
Right.
that's how we do it. That's how we roll. So I'm like, I'm not one of those. So I can't make the best pictures. I can't, we do,
Mhm.
I would say you doubt, especially as a mom, you doubt, like, why am I doing this? I'm not good enough for this or this one. And then, you know what she just told me? If you're having one of those days because you started this thing not out of money, but of passion and your mission to help, send me an email and I'm going to tell you it's all right, relax, but don't sell it because you have a mission.
Mhm.
And I was like, that is every time I'm like, can I sell it now? She's like, unless you really wanted to, you have to. But if your heart is still on it, doing all these stuff, do it. And you know what? I would say it's the friends in the food allergy community that helped me throughout these years,
Mhm.
not only with recipes, not only with business support, but most importantly, personal and emotional support.
Oh
I
yeah.
would say this community is amazing.
Mhm.
We are real people in here, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes, we are. And like you said, you didn't start the blog to try to make money with it or that kind of thing. And I know I've had times where, people would always be like, you need to start your blog, you need to do this, you need to do that, telling me what I should do. And I'm like, I don't have time for that right now. I'm just trying to live. Like, I don't have time for that. And so the fact, excuse me, that there was times that I would read your blog and then there'd be times where you wouldn't post at all. And that's because you were like, life is happening. I think that that's true and real. And I think that's why everybody can connect with that, because there's even times where I'm like, yeah, oh, nope, sorry, don't have time. And you just got to have to embrace it. And that's not why I turned the camera on and started a YouTube channel, like, so I totally get that. It didn't start with what you thought it would be, but then it's become so much more a part of your life, I really think. At least for me, like outside looking in and obviously knowing you as another OG mom, that, it's almost as if it hadn't existed. It's just like a part of you in there in the history, and you can look back on it. I mean, because I do with mine, and I'm like, wow, we did that. We lived through that. Oh, I remember making that, and I forgot to take pictures. So then I had to remake it because I forgot to take the pictures. So, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
mine is like, because I'm in New Jersey, and right now I would say the only time that you get good pictures in New Jersey is usually, I would say around summertime, and that's what, 3 months in a
Yeah.
year.
Mhm.
And the rest is like gloomy, rainy, or you don't have that. And I'm like, I can't say. And Well, and now the phones are amazing. They take
Oh
good
yeah, they are.
pictures. I started with a digital SLR camera on natural lighting because there's still no ring light back then.
Yeah.
And then your light could be like, your food should be white and it looks yellow or orange.
Yeah.
I was looking at some and I'm like, do actually people try it like to try this recipe because it looks yucky? But you know what my kids say? They taste good. You know, we
Right.
ate it, so that's why it passed. And I'm like, well, it's like try the recipe at your own risk.
Mhm.
But my kids said at least it does, at least when they try it, their expectations are low. And they will tell you this is the best cupcake ever. See, that's what you get for having teenage kids. They
Mhm.
tell you things as it is, or like they're even worse than toddlers.
They can be definitely worse than toddlers.
They murder me. But you know, because they would say, oh, this picture is so nice and everything, you know, now because they're on TikTok and Snapchat. And then when you look at it, because now they would say, wait up, they put this thing on this thing. No, it's not gonna work. Because you know, because they know how to cook, they know how to this one. They're like, that's not gonna work. That is tasteless. You know, they know right
Mhm.
away. But they would tell you it does look good. And you know what they said? It's the hook picture.
Yep. The hook picture.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I guess we can move on to our next kind of question. Because you have a lot there. Not that you haven't had a long life of, since we're both OG allergy moms, we've been doing this a minute. A little bit. Okay, so since we're both part of the club, and so my one question I have is like, because I'll have people that will straight up ask me, because we were before the labeling laws came into place and different things like that. So in what ways do you think us OGs had it easier or harder versus the newer generation of moms coming into this? I mean, I still think it's just as stressful, but I won't tell you my information on how I feel about it. But so let me know, what do you think?
Okay, right now, actually, when you mentioned that, I remember one of my friends. She is a Daisy Scout leader,
Okay.
and this is before COVID. So I think
Mhm.
her daughter's bigger now, but at that time, she's like a Daisy, you know, like a mom troop, Girl Scout mom.
Yeah.
So she came to me and she's like, "Oh, you're a food allergy mom," because her kid doesn't have food allergies, and she's like, is this normal? You know, because it's a Daisy one, so it's about like kindergarten, you know, like
Yeah.
probably the
Yeah.
age of the kid. Because
Hmm.
there's one kid in their troop that is she told me she's allergic to food dye red, color red,
Hmm.
right? So you
Yep.
know they're very, you know, as a, of course, as a Girl Scout mom, you're very strict with this, whatever they, you know, what they do, because you know you want to keep the kids safe without the other child being left behind or something,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So they had a party, and then this mom is actually, she's a good baker as well. So because it's not nuts, it's not other things, it's the food color. So she, you know, it's easier on her part to manage. So what she did, she bought you know, which is available right now, is like the organic food coloring that is made from turmeric, from fruits, right? That's
Right.
already powdered or liquid that you can add.
Hmm.
So she had something in that one. They made a cupcake, and then it's now the frosting was pink. The child came in inside the, you know, the Girl Scout room. She saw the cupcake with pink icing. She started yelling and screaming and ran outside the room and
Oh.
hysterical.
Yeah.
And then she said, is that even normal? Because, you know, they have to run after her in this one. And then, you know, when they asked, why are you scared in this one? And you know what what the girl said? Your cupcake is color pink. It has red food coloring. I will die.
Right. Yeah. It's so
No,
sad. Yeah.
but it's like, and then she told me, is this normal?
Yeah.
And of course I've seen this in you know, in chat groups of food allergy moms, you know, like all those things in Facebook groups. And I'm telling you, as an OG mom, that is not normal because the kid has anxiety. She didn't even ask what's in it. The minute so it's like, I would say she got like one of those phobias already at a young age. It's not even peanuts, I would say, that's invisible, or wheat or soy that's invisible. That thing is very visible in her eyes, but she's already panicking, and that is not a normal. The most normal reaction could be, is that, is that cupcake okay for me? Did you talk to my mom about the food coloring because that's my out? No, the kid just ran, and I said, you know what? You better talk to the mom and ask for, a referral, maybe, because that child has severe anxieties already over food.
Yeah, because this is like kindergarten group, right?
Yes, it is a kindergarten group.
Kindergarten group. So even with that, and I don't think I've ever had. I mean, it's just sad to me and heartbreaking to hear a kid freak out that bad and that anxious at that time. But you're right, it's not normal. That it's like their anxiety is so high. And as a food allergy OG mom, one of the first things everybody asked me is like, what's the first thing you wish that somebody told you? And I was like, get a counselor for your kid. Yeah. So continue your story. I'm sorry. Just had to add in there. Yeah, I was like,
because it's normal. Because that's one thing I noticed. Because for us before, there's no labeling. We didn't have news of kids dying of food allergies. Maybe it's not as common, or it's not on the internet. The news before is like what? The prices of gas, everything. We don't have much like, there's no, even in the newspaper, you don't see kids dying of food allergies at that time. When we mention food allergies, the most probably us would know is that the childhood reaction, rashes, the mouth was swollen, and that's it. That's the worst thing that happened. So for us, it's like, it's not a big deal, right? I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not as traumatic. Unlike now that we knew a lot of people died on it, a kid, all those stories that are heartbreaking. Like, for example, with I would always say it's Thomas for the Elijah
Thomas.
Foundation.
Elijah.
Yeah. So, like, your child is in a daycare, you told them already that he's allergic to milk, and he was given something with dairy, and then the child, passed away. Those kinds of stories are actually, I would say it's information, but it's informative. It gives us more awareness about food allergies, but at the same time, it also gives us anxiety, more anxiety, I believe, especially to new parents. Because I would say I'm a mom of 4 and what they said, first child, you're very cautious, second child, you're fine, third child, the fourth one, do you exist? No, right? Is that what it? So it's, for me, it's that's, I think, is harder, more, I think, because like most of the moms right now, they would say, oh, you have to be very strict and everything. Because for us, since we don't have the label, it's always an experimental if they're going to have a reaction to it or not. And I would say the beauty about that, though, is that we are more adventurous on what we eat or what we will feed our kids. Because what happens is, like, I don't know, this is a common thing that they said, why I'm not crazy about food allergies, I don't take you seriously, or you're not taking food allergies seriously. Because they would say, oh, if you're allergic to bananas, if you're allergic to latex, you will react to bananas, and you will react to mango. And I'm like, wait up. Let's start first with the first one. You're in latex. You may react to banana, or you may not react to the bananas, but don't like push it all the way until the end that you will avoid all those food. Which, even I would say, I mean, I'm not a professional, but that's the same thing as my allergist told me. Unless you react to something, that's what we know, that you're allergic to it. So maybe they're in the same family, but you might react, another child will react. So the body, treats the thing differently. So don't limit yourself to just like two types of food on that one. For us, for me, if you can't have it, we'll look for one that we can have it, or if it's something new in a store, as long as, well, now I said, as long as it says in the ingredients, it doesn't contain it, it's a bonus that says the facility, you know what, let's try it, I would say we're more open and adventurous because we don't have the anxiety much, I think.
Yeah.
But the harder part though, well, I mentioned earlier, there were not much food available at that time. The ingredients, you have to read each of those tiny labels. And there's so many options right now, actually, which is very helpful. And they have better products, I have to say. A lot better products.
Yes. And we both have been behind the scenes, and I know a lot of other allergy people have been behind the scenes, and gluten-free people trying to help change it and make it better. And I think it's really helped a lot over the years. Because I remember when I first, it was not pleasant anyway.
You know what my kids say? Oh, was it during Nixon's time? Or is it Abe Lincoln's time? Oh my gosh. Yeah, those are my kids, the sarcastic ones. But you know what? I would say, it makes me updated on what's trending.
Yeah, and I agree with I think somewhat more adventurous. I think that we're a little bit, to a certain degree, like a little bit laid back, a little bit more laid back with it. Me being a mom that has food allergies themselves too, I get the anxiety as a patient. So like, that's one of my first things. I'm always like, as soon as you find out that you have got food allergies in the family, that's like my number one tip. I'm like, go get a counselor for the family. You never know when you're going to need them. And I think therapy is just good in general. Yep. But it's real anxiety, and you don't know where your kid's going to put it. And I thought, like I said, with all moms, we're trying to empower our kids, and we still ended up with like some severe anxiety on our end. And it was like, oh, okay, let's go see a therapist. So anxiety. And I think that my term, where I think that actually the new generation has it a little bit harder, is the fact that there's like oversaturation of information, and sometimes that information is not accurate. Yep. So the fact that we have so much of this information, like you said, in shock value, and it's very true. And I think in the allergy community ourselves, we know people that have lost children, and unfortunately, sometimes to get people to listen, they have to focus on the shock value, that it's really can be a life and death situation. And so I think that that's an oversaturation that we didn't have to deal with our kids, which I think kind of helped us OGs not having that information. But at the same time, they can Google this and they can go figure out what that ingredient means to that ingredient without their kid having a reaction. Even though it was mild, they still didn't have to have that reaction.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, actually, you know what I want to add to, like, I would say at that time, because I would say it's not trending at that time. So businesses who are actually in the food allergy, community, I would say, or wanted to do the allergy friendly items, they all have a mission, which is mostly purpose-based. Because now I'm thinking they would put the gluten-free label, for example. Even if it's not, they would just dump a gluten-free label on it without checking the ingredients, maybe not the main ingredients, but they will just put it because they could sell it at a higher price. Because a lot of people are buying it because it's the trend. And I think that's something that's harder for people now, because they can't figure out, like, why am I reacting, but it says it's gluten-free, or why is it, I cannot buy anything without a gluten-free label stamp. Hello, spinach is gluten-free.
Yeah.
Like those things, because now there'll be like, I would say mostly the term food, I would say free from, allergy friendly, or even gluten-free started to become like a branding or a marketing thing, which becomes harder now for those people who really needs it, but they have to, they're being brainwashed, or I would say brand wash on that one.
Yeah, like school safe. School safe is not technically the terminology that the FDA regulates. So they can put school safe on there, and it can mean whatever. So you still need to look at the labeling law. Like, so for gluten-free, technically, and then we still find it, you still find people making mistakes with gluten-free or not having it tested, or, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, we're still finding that. And same thing with mislabeled allergens and things that have happened. So unless it's being actually mandated by the FDA, you know, that didn't happen for gluten-free till 2015. So, which is crazy. It's 2022.
I know, right? No, actually, this one thing that most people now are, you know, because some parents, you know, I've seen new parents who are going to kindergarten. Because I said I'm lucky because the schools that my kids went to, even before we found out that they have food allergies, or at that time, they already didn't have birthday parties in school.
Mm-hmm.
You
Same
can't
here.
bring food in school to share for birthdays, so no cupcakes, nothing. They've already done that. So at that time we were just having a special guest in school, like your mom will go there to read a story and that one, but no food. So I was lucky. But then there's some new parents now who said, I used to have this party in the 80s or 90s, and why is it like this? And then actually there was one that says, oh, it says school safe on it because it is peanut free.
Right.
But some kids, you know, here you go, for those moms who probably don't have allergies in their, you know, kids with allergies, but are listening to us. Well, school safe doesn't necessarily mean it's gluten free, because some kids are allergic to wheat, eggs, which is in those brownies or those baked goods, milk, one thing, right? Dairy on that one. And
and peanut free doesn't mean tree nut free. So you know, it's all different types.
Yes, it happened to my child because they did before a peanut. They said it's nut free. Then one mom said, "Oh, peanut free." So they had Nutella for the sandwich, and my child is highly allergic to hazelnuts. And I'm like, can you tell the mom that Nutella has nuts on it? And she's like, but it's Nutella, it's chocolate. No, it has hazelnuts on it. Good thing my child didn't react, because my son was like, somebody had a Nutella because he can smell it. You know, because
stuff smells good.
Yeah, he's like, I could smell it, and they're like, you can smell hazelnuts or having reaction. No, it's just like nobody puts real chocolate on bread, so it's like it's probably Nutella. And they were like, oh really? So it's hazelnut? And I'm like, yeah, you can't. It is said nut free, not only peanut.
Yep. So for all the allergy moms out there, yeah, we've all been there. And had those moments with other people that are trying, but they just don't necessarily have all the education that we've had throughout the years. Okay, so really good insight. Thank you so much on that one. Let's see. I'm double checking my questions here because, you know, I'm old.
I messed up your was that your sequence?
Oh, no, you're fine. It's just me. I'm literally, and we already know I'm older than you, so I can literally say I'm old. So, so going on to the fact that my kids, we just were talking about this before we came on, which is like, mine are all adults. Yours are all teens. Congratulations. Now living through it, that's another story.
Grace,
I got some right here. I need to touch it up. I got some. So time doesn't stop for us. Our kids are getting older. They go to high school, they go to graduation, they go to college. My one with the most food allergies, you know, over 30 plus celiac disease, is at college now, is thriving, is doing great. Couldn't believe we found a place that would take them and actually take on their allergies. But it doesn't take away the worry. They had their first anaphylactic reaction away from home last year. And it's just insane because you're used to being the advocate. You're used to being able to be there. And, you know, hearing what happens after it happened or in the middle of it. I just went to the hospital, gave myself an epi, had a secondary reaction, and did it like 3 o'clock in the morning. So they didn't contact me. They went there and then they had a really negative reaction with the doctors, like interaction with the doctors. And just people that don't know how to deal with
Mhm.
an allergic reaction, and we're there usually. So for me, it was really traumatic being at home and hearing about it
Yeah.
after the fact, you know. And so nobody tells us, and we can really empathize with our parents more so when as our kids get older, because we know exactly how they feel, because it doesn't stop you as a parent, it doesn't stop you from feeling these things.
Mhm.
So what has been the hardest part for you as they're growing up? Like any tips or tricks or things that you can share with us?
Actually, you know what? I was just thinking about it maybe a few, I would say a few, I would say a month already or so, not a few days. Now, because
Okay.
it's been thinking one of those things that I was talking about my faith, how food, I was about to write an article, but you know, I had the title in there, but I haven't. But the gist of the article that I wanted to write is the how food allergies increase my faith as a person.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, because you know, that's one thing about, you know, I would say I don't know what kind of faith you have, if it's the moon. I would say I'm a Catholic, some are Muslims. I don't care what you are. If you
Mhm.
believe that the universe or an entity is far better than you, about it's a matter of just the faith, you know, like
Right.
believing in something, right? That is that
Mhm.
you don't readily see. I'd say food allergy geez increase my faith because there's so many things we can't control. And you know, like for us, it was traumatizing before already when my kids have to go to, you know, I've always been the school mom.
Mhm.
I'm there for class parties. I said, you know what? I volunteer so I can control the food. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. For those who have younger kids, volunteer because you
Mhm.
control the food. You don't have to fight with anybody. So I had that one. And then, you know, it came to a point when they reached high school, you're no longer allowed to volunteer. Like you want to put your face in there, but it's like, you know, this gotta end, mom. So when you know that they would go to the prom, yeah, that thing like my because my second one with the one with who has a lot of allergies, the most allergies, she even have sesame and shellfish.
Mhm.
So the only she can have is dairy, actually, out of the top, what is it now, 9,
Yeah, it's 9 now. So she's okay. I was just
right?
trying, we're comparing lists. Go on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so the only thing that she can have is dairy, right? So and then we knew that it was just maybe in the last 4 years that her shellfish, her shrimp allergy is getting bad. Why? Because before, when I used to cook, you know, I can cook shrimp at home because the other people in our house can have it except her. I can cook shrimp in the house, you know, like in a separate, you know, everything
Yeah,
separate
yeah, you
this
make
for
sure
her.
everything, no cross
Yeah.
contact or contamination. Yeah.
So, but you know, I can do that. We could eat, you know, like it's fine because normally for her, you can eat in front of me. But then for the past, I think, 5 years, when I cook something with shrimp, she's already having some difficulty breathing. She's like, Mom, my
Mhm.
throat is itchy, you know, just from the
Mhm.
smell of it, the smoke in the house. So
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
like, it was getting, I would say it was getting worse. It's not like she's, you know, because she has more reaction. And, you know, when she went to the junior prom and then she's going to go senior prom, you know, I can't control the food because it's a restaurant. And, you know, she's going out with her friends. And then now she's actually preparing for college because she's the 17-year-old. So next year she's going to go to college. So I think that's something that is hard for me because before it's like for them going to Six Flags, you know, the class trip that you're not allowed to go to.
Hmm.
Because it happened because before I'm like the class trip mom, and then eventually on a certain age they would tell you, I think it's about seventh grade, I think, or sixth grade, they will tell you no more parents allowed, only the teachers, and they have to self-carry because there's no nurse in the trip.
Hmm.
So you know,
Yeah.
like those that you have to sign the waiver that they have to self carry, and it's, you know, they have to self inject. I mean, there are some teachers who can administer epi, but you know, you already have it in the waiver that if they can't do it, there's a teacher, but you know, everything to clean their hands on the things, right? So those are tough for me. And I would say it's just my faith. Like when they left the house, I'd say, you know what? I would say, Jesus, just be with my kids. They're in your hands because I can't control this. I can, I would say, can help those people who prepare their food, help those classmates not to touch them when they had something, anything in which I'd say that's the thing. It really increased my faith because I know I can't be there all the time with them. And then now that they're growing, they already told me, Ma, you're not even allowed. And then, they'll be driving, which I don't want to do, but they have to get their licenses and they're going to be driving on their own. So that's it. I would say the faith. Just, I would say whatever you want to call your higher being or whatever, even the universe, just tell them, universe, please be nice to my kid, take care of my kid. And, just have that faith that they're okay. And, for those who are almost in our age or they have kids that are teenagers, maybe trust them that you train them enough. Because like for me, I always say, I don't know what they're feeling because I never had food allergies. I've seen them struggle, but I know I've seen them struggle and it hurts me, but I know it hurts them more because they're the ones having reactions. So I know that they could better take care of themselves because they know they're the ones hurting eventually,
Yeah.
And you know what? And also when it comes to food, not everything is food. This is a tip for all those who have younger kids. Not everything is food because sometimes it's just a company. Because I remember there are times when my kids, they would go to a pizzeria. Of course they can't have anything in the pizzeria. You know what, they'll just buy the soda and talk to their friends. They're happy. She's starving when she gets home, but that sugar and soda, you know what, they're not gonna pass out. They have the sugar, they have water in it, liquids, they're fine. But they said, you know what, I just had a large Coke. We went to this pizzeria, we chat. I said, for the 2 hours, for the 3 hours, we just talked. They were happy. So you know what, don't be scared, like, oh, my kids won't have anything to eat in this one. You know what, they could manage because sometimes it's the company that they want, and the company is what makes them, I would say, more normal in life because that's more important than food. And I would say, any gathering, I know we love food. I love food, but, pineapple juice or a simple soda in a can or Sprite in a can, they could survive for 2 hours. But if they're happy, they're, they will do it over and over again.
Yeah, I've always said like traveling too, like traveling's not about the food. I mean, yes, granted, I love to eat different foods and I love to learn about cultures through food, but like it's not always about that because you can't always eat the food. And we're the same way. My youngest that has the food allergy has the exact same issue with shellfish and finfish, and to the point that it's in the air. So we've had to come up with certain things, like because they can't even go into like their like the dining hall when fish is being served, and they do it like every Friday. So that we've had to come up with certain things. So I totally feel all of that. I think, you brought up really great things, and I would love to read the blog post whenever you get to that point, which is you have to have faith of something, and even faith in your kids, and to realize that as a parent, sometimes you may think you've had them trained as well as you think you have. I call it training, but have them ready for it. But you're not ready for it when it doesn't happen the way you think it's going to. And you're like, I didn't think about teaching them that. And I think allowing yourself to just feel those feelings and just be like, well, everything happens for a reason. And I truly believe that, so.
Yeah, actually, that's what I'm thinking with the blog. I'm like, I'm happy with my jewelry business at that time, because I'm like, I would say I'm the girly girl. So I'm like, I'm happy with the jewelry, the fashion, the makeup. Why I suddenly have to be, I'm happy cooking in the kitchen, but that's the pastime. That's why they were teasing. My kids are like, why do you have to put on makeup while cooking? You don't even have a camera on. And I said, because that's one thing that makes me happy. But, I said, why and when it happened to me, actually, for some people, I know some moms felt that like, why me? Why my kid? When I had the news, it's 4 out of 4. And at that time, the first thing I asked is like, typical mom, what did I do wrong?
Mm-hmm.
I breastfed them for a full year, all 4 of them. I didn't even had epidural when I had them, like all those things. And I'm like, what did I do? But you know what? It's not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Parents, it's not your fault. Um, it happens, and yes, there is a reason for it. That's
Yeah.
why I told my kids, like now when they were younger, some of my kids, they felt it already, because there are some kids who are diagnosed with food allergies, or they suddenly um acquired, like acquired, is it that thing? Food
Yeah.
allergies at a certain age. Because before, my daughter has a friend, she would do sleepovers in this house, and the mom would be nice, like, okay, we'll just grill some barbecue and hot dog for you, and grill some steak so that it's clean, and then the
Mm-hmm.
potatoes are boiled, something like that. I mean, they're very accommodating for sleepovers. And then eventually, when that that friend, when she reached high school, she started having allergies, and now they almost have the same allergies. And she's like, I never knew, but throughout the years, that friend already knew how to handle, what my daughter can eat, what she has to do, what's an epi and that one. So she was prepared when she found out that she has allergies. And the
Yeah.
mom didn't freak out, because my daughter grew in their house technically, also.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, she knew how to cook for her daughter. Then she had ideas, and I said, you know what, there's a reason. Because otherwise, maybe that mom, because she doesn't cook a lot, she wouldn't have, she would probably have a meltdown when she found out that her high school kid now has several food allergies.
Yeah.
So there are reasons. And we might know, we might don't understand, we might not understand it right now, but eventually, it will unravel too. I would say,
Mm-hmm. That's
right?
right. That's why you have to have faith. I love that. So I guess we should be wrapping up, because I can't believe we already talked almost an hour.
Wow.
So thank you for everybody that's been watching and agreeing with everything we're saying. I appreciate you. Obviously, we're gonna, like what we usually do, is we ask, is there anything else you would like to let us know that's coming up? Because I know that like you said, you already told us that you have a blog that you're working on, and things have been, they're crazy. Life is life, basically. So is there anything you want to make sure that you add or in before we wrap up, or anything in the future that we should be watching out for?
Oh, actually, I do, because I promised those who were in the gluten or the Nourish Festival. See, I still
Okay.
call them Gluten-Free Expo, right?
It's okay. I did the same thing.
Also, I just finished a segment in the Nourish Festival, which is like 2 weeks ago, and I promised them that I will be releasing some printables by the end of the month. So these are my topic. There was if you yeah, I know some of you, if you were not in that expo, maybe you have different allergies, you're not in the gluten-free community. My topic was 5 tips on how to lower your gluten-free / allergy-friendly grocery bill. So I gave them 5 tips on how to, lessen that, especially this time. Not, I would say not this time of the year, but this situation we
Anytime.
have. Actually, our
Anytime.
situation right now is
Yeah,
really
exactly.
crazy. You know that. I don't want to say other words, because they say the power of words, but I don't want to say what we're having. So
Right,
when
exactly.
prices are high right now, so how to cut those. So I promise them I'll be having some printables that will be available on the blog. And that is, I would say, just a special printable for them, but I'm extending that to you. So make sure to subscribe to my mailing list, which is available on the frugalistamom.com, because that printable will only well, I would say right now will only be available for those who are in the mailing list. So the mailing list is free, so just subscribe. And I don't clutter your inbox. Normally, it's one newsletter a week, or if life happens, one newsletter a month. That's what I always say. I never clutter that. And also make sure to come to my website or go to thefrugalistamom.com tomorrow, because I'm having a giveaway. Yep, I haven't posted it yet, but there will be a giveaway for an amazing gluten-free and food allergy friendly snack. Yeah, I know you always want free things, and I like giving away free stuff. I feel like I'm Oprah.
Oh yeah.
But not on an Oprah level yet.
I think you're better than Oprah. Not that Oprah's not great. I'm not saying that. I just think, you're your own thing. I don't know. You're the Frugalista mom. I don't know.
No, I was about to say, I'm like the Oprah of the food allergy community. I will send you the coupons that you cannot find. I will give you the free snacks that are like $5 a bag, and you can have like 5 of those to try. Right?
Awesome.
Or those that it's only available in New Jersey and you're in the Midwest, it will be shipped to your place, those things. And I would say food allergy. So make sure to go over to the Frugalista Mom tomorrow, because I will be publishing the giveaway, and you will have the first dibs on how to join, and it's free to join. Yeah, I always like the word free, right? Mm-hmm. Food allergy, I would say food allergy or allergy free, gluten free,
allergy free, gluten free.
Yeah. So, and you know what? If you have any questions about food allergies that maybe you don't want to ask Martha, or maybe you can ask me. I have 2 boys and 2 girls, all teens. And you know what? Sometimes even if it's not food allergy related, I would say parenting related. Mm-hmm. I try to answer them as honest as I can. Maybe you figured that out already, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. That's why we love you. I'm the same way though. And I think that you bring just so much to the table, and I think everybody's life experiences are very valid. And I remember we talked 2 years ago, and we were talking about the fact that your kids are allergic to soy. And we were talking about that from the Asian perspective and food and that kind of thing. And I think we talked about a lot of your kids, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of them will eat Vietnamese food because of not the fact that it doesn't have a lot of soy sauce or as much soy sauce in it or something like that. I think we talked about that.
Oh, so remember that.
I remember
it's
that.
It's food.
It's food. It's very important to me, but you're very important to me too. So, and I find it very interesting when we were talking about that, because I think maybe me and you are probably one of the few people that have as much rice, because we talked about that. Because one of my other friends that's Asian, she's like, I think you are Asian, you just don't know it, because of we were comparing our buckets of rice and how much we go through it, because I eat it about every day. So, thank you. Anything else you want to add real quick?
Oh, you know what? For those who want to watch that, it's on YouTube. So go to the Frugalista Mom. It's on YouTube. So my handle is the Frugalista Mom. And you will see that video with Martha, and she was cooking there too.
Oh, yeah.
So you would see her. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving again, right?
I know. It's almost Thanksgiving. I said it's literally been almost 2 years since we did this. And we need to do it more often. We need to do a yearly reunion, holiday time or something. Yeah. Holiday special with the Frugalista Mom.
Oh, I think that would be awesome. Go with the allergy-Dragon.
Yeah,
she'll
exactly.
Be cooking again.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Okay, guys. So you can see that video on my YouTube channel. So check it out.
And I will link everything after we get this set up and done. I will link everything that we've talked about, so you can check out Rochie and the Frugalista Mom blog and YouTube channel. And then we will have this video will be on my YouTube channel to replay, and I'll have all the links there as well. So make sure you go check out her website, subscribe. She's like me, does not clutter your website, your email box. I do up to 3 maybe a month. So that's one of the reasons I love her as well. So go check it out. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so much fun. I love
Okay.
it.
Oh, always so much fun with you. Okay, well, make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, and away on this. Check out everything that we talked about, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.